Good morning. Today we are going to cover section 9.4. On section 9.4, we are covering the discriminant. Your essential question, make sure to copy it down. How do you find the number and the type of solutions of a quadratic equation? So we are going to find two things. We're going to find how many solutions does it have and what type of solutions they are, whether they're real or non-real solutions. So take the time to copy the title, your essential question, and then if you're able to print the cutout, glue it, or otherwise you can copy it down. For now, go and pause it, and then we can start once you are ready. So the discriminant. Now the discriminant is going to be this expression here, b squared minus 4ac. That is called the discriminant. Yes, go ahead and sing it with me. b squared minus 4ac. On the next lesson, we are going to cover the quadratic formula, and then we can sing the entire song. But for now, it's b squared minus 4ac. It's called a discriminant. The discriminant is going to be this expression, and it's going to give us a number once we simplify it. You can use that value, that number, to determine the number of real solutions of a quadratic equation. So therefore, it's going to tell you the number of real solutions. So it's going to tell you how many and whether they're real or not. And the number of x-intercepts. So one of the things that we're going to continue talking is that your solutions is the same thing as your x-intercepts of the graph of the related function. So therefore, if b squared minus 4ac is less than 0, that means that b squared minus 4ac gives you a negative number. It's going to have no x-intercept. That means that it's going to have no real solutions. That means that it's not going to cross the x-axis at all. It doesn't touch the x-axis. It does not have any x-intercepts. It does not have a solution, which means that your discriminant is negative. If your discriminant is equal to 0, whenever you simplify b squared minus 4ac, if it's equal to 0, that means it's going to have one x-intercept. That means it's going to have one real solution. And notice that this is an example where it touches it only once. It has one x-intercept, which means that it has one solution. So something that you want to keep in mind is that your x-intercept is your solution. If b squared minus 4ac, if it's greater than 0, that means that if it's positive, it has two x-intercepts, which means that it has two real solutions. That means that if when it crosses your x-axis 2 times. Once, twice, those are your x-intercepts, which are your solutions as well. And you have to be able to memorize this. Now, we'll go over how to find a way to be able to memorize it, and we'll do that on the next. Or actually, let's do it beforehand. On the left-hand side. So how you want to be able to memorize it, we're going to place a number line. And we're going to place a 0 in the middle. Negative on the left are negative numbers, on the right are positive numbers. And we're going to place negative, 0, positive. It's going to be 0, 1, 2 solutions. So negatives on the left, 0 in the middle, and positive on the right. So therefore, if it's negative, it's going to have 0 real solutions. If it's 0, it's going to have 1 real solution. And if it's positive, it's going to have 2 real solutions. And I should write down the word real on top. Because once you go to Algebra 2, then you're going to find that we also have imaginary solutions. Excuse me. Now, Example number 1. Let's go through the process. And then we'll talk about more on example number 3. We'll talk about more about the graphical representation. Go and copy it down, and then we can continue once you are ready. Example number 1. So find the number of real solutions. So therefore, in order to be able to find how many real solutions we have, we're going to use b squared minus 4ac. And now we are going to substitute b squared minus 4ac. Now, one of the things that you have to remember is that whenever it's in this format, it has to be on standard form. That means that you have to have your x squared, your x, your number equals 0 every single time. Therefore, this is your a value, this is your b, and that is your c. So b is positive 4, so it'll be 4 minus 4a, a is negative 3, and c is negative 1. And then the only thing that we need to do is just to be able to simplify it. We have 4 squared is 16. I'm going to multiply those two numbers first. Negative 4 times negative 3 is positive 12. Then I'm going to multiply by negative 1. The negative 1 is still multiplying this expression, so I have to be careful. Either you can multiply all three numbers at the same time. I usually multiply the first two, positive 12, and the negative 1 is still multiplying. So therefore, I'm now going to multiply those two numbers. That'll be 16. 12 times negative 1 is negative 12, which gives me 4. And then I need to ask myself, positive, negative, or 0. So therefore, I'm going to place a number line, 0, negatives on the left, positive on the right, and I'll place 0, 1, 2 solutions. And I'm actually going to write the word real on top. Is that a positive, a negative, or a 0? That is a positive, so it's going to have 2 real solutions. So therefore, your discriminant is positive, therefore it has 2 real solutions. That means that if I was going to graph it, it will cross the x-axis twice. And let's go and graph it really quick. So let's say I'm going to graph it. And let me go into a new graph. And I'm going to type in the equation y equals negative 3x to the power of 2 plus 4x minus 1. That means that's going to have 2 real solutions. Remember that it's facing down. That is because that is a negative 3. And that's it. So one of the things that we want to be able to find out is the number and the type of solutions. We already know how to find the solutions by completing the square, by factoring, by square roots, or by graphing it, just like we did right now. But now there's going to be times that we just want to be able to find how many solutions does it have. Let's try letter B. So the equation will be b squared minus 4ac. And now notice I'm going to set it up first. B squared minus 4a and c, where we have the value of a, the value of b, and the value of c. And now I can just plug it in. B is negative 3, A is 4, and C is 1. And now I can just simplify. Negative 3 squared. Remember that in this case the negative and the 3 are being squared, so negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9. I'm going to multiply those two numbers first, and then times 1. So negative 4 times positive 4 is negative 16. And the 1 is still multiplying. So 16 times 1. So you have to be careful that those two numbers are still multiplying since all three were multiplying before. So it gives me 9 minus 16 gives you negative 7. So therefore, your discriminant is equal to 7, negative 7. So therefore, if it's negative, how many solutions will it have? If it's negative, it's going to have 0 real solutions. So this is negative. So it has no real solutions. It does have solutions, but they are imaginary, and you guys will see that in Algebra 2. Now, if I do graph it, let's go and go through the graph. And you can use decimals. You can also use decimals on your cell phone, just like I've done before. And notice that it doesn't cross the x-axis anywhere. And that is confirmed by our solution. And that's all, the only thing that we're doing today. But let's go through example number 2 so we can get some more practice. Go ahead and copy it down, and then once you're ready, we can start. Go ahead and pause it if you need to. So go through the process. Find b squared minus 4ac. And I hope you've said that first time. Now remember that you need to make sure that you have on standard form, where we have your x squared, your x, and then your number. So this is your a, this is your b, and that is your c. And now we have b squared minus 4ac, where b is 6, a is 2, and c is 1. Simplify, see what you get, and then determine how many solutions you have. And then we can go over the answer. Go and pause it. Excellent. So at this point, this is 6 squared, which is 36, negative 8, and then 1 comes down. Some of you guys might multiply all three numbers at the same time, which is fine. Just be careful with your sign. So the 36 comes down. Negative 8 times 1 is negative 8. So therefore, that will give me 26. 28, correct? And this is positive or negative? It's positive. So therefore, your discriminant, this is your discriminant, is positive 28, so it's positive. So therefore, how many solutions does it have? So remember, if it's positive, it has 2 real solutions. So 2 real solutions. That means that if we graph it, it should cross your x-axis twice. So let's say if we can graph it, and we can use decimals. You can also use it on your cell phone. Just download the graph, decimals calculator, not scientific decimals. And then it has to, the real solutions are here. Those are 2 real solutions. They're both negative, but they are real solutions. So try letter B and see what you get. Go ahead and pause it. Find your discriminant. Determine if it's positive, 0, or negative. And then we can compare our answers. Go ahead and pause it. Excellent. So in this case, we are using b squared minus 4ac, where b, this is a is 1, only 1, b is only negative 2, not the x, and c is 1. So b is negative 2, a is 1, and c is also 1. Remember that you're squaring your negative as well as your 2, so negative 2 squares negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4. This gives me negative 4 multiplied by 1, which is negative 4. Therefore, it gives me 0. So therefore, your discriminant, and remember to write this down on your notes as well, is equal to 0. So you want to be able to get used to the vocabulary as well. Is 0, which means how many solutions does it have? If it's 0, it has one real solution. And we just need to write that down. One real solution. And let's go and graph it and see. It should cross the x-axis only once. That means that it crosses only once. It happens to be at 1, but it only crosses 1. Example number 3. Find the number of x-intercepts. Remember that your x-intercepts and your solutions are exactly the same. So we're going to go through the same process as example number 2. Go and pause it, work on example number, or write down example number 3, and then we'll do letter A together. Excellent. So we are going to find the discriminant to find the number in the type of x-intercepts, or excuse me, the number of x-intercepts. And we're going to use b squared minus 4ac. Sing it with me. B squared minus 4ac. And I'm going to set up my equation first, or my expression. X squared minus 4a and c. And in this case, a, it's in standard form. We have your x squared, you have your x, and then there's no number afterwards, so there will be a plus 0. So a will be 1, b will be negative 9, and c will be 0. So b is negative 9. A is 1, and c is 0. Well, we know that anything times 0 is 0, so I know that cancels out. So we just have negative 9 squared is positive 81. This is called your discriminant. Let's write down. Discriminant. Is it positive? So how many solutions does it have? So remember, the best way to memorize it is just to be able to place a number line. You have your 0, negatives on the left, positives on the right, and we write down 0, 1, 2 solutions. Real solutions, but in this case we're looking for the x-intercepts. If it's positive, it has 2 solutions or just 2 x-intercepts. And if we graph it, it should cross your x-axis twice. And it only crosses once, so we just need to kind of zoom out so we can see the other one. There we go. So it crosses once, and the other one's over here. And we also know how to find your x-intercepts at this point by graphing by square roots. But for today, we just need to be able to find how many x-intercepts does it have. Letter B, find the number of x-intercepts. So we're going to use the formula. B squared minus 4ac. Go and work it out, see how many x-intercepts, go and pause it, and then we can continue once you're ready. Excellent. Remember that you want to set up every single time. X squared minus 4ac, where a is 1, b is negative 6, and c is 9. So b is negative 6, a is 1, and c is 9. And now we can simplify. Negative 6 squared is positive 36. That gives me a negative 4. The 9 still multiplying the negative 4, so it gives me 36 minus 36, which is 0. This is your discriminant. Your discriminant is 0. So it has how many solutions? It has 1 solution. That means that it has to have 1 x-intercept. And if I was going to graph it, minus 6x plus 9. That means that it crosses only once. That is, your x-intercept is 3, 0. So it does have one x-intercept. And the last example for today, example number 4. Draw a parabola that has two real solutions. So go and write it down, and as you write it down, I'm going to make my x and y intercepts. Let's see. I want to use an old idea, the oldest idea I have. There you go. This is me when I first started teaching in back to 2003. As you guys can see, I have some hair. So I'm back to 2003. That's my first year of teaching. So I'm going to make a x and y axis, just a very quick sketch. And I just want to be able to draw a parabola that's going to have two real solutions. Now, one of the things that you have to remember is that your solutions are your x-intercepts. So I just want to be able to find a parabola that crosses the x-axis twice. So I'm just going to do crosses once, crosses twice, and that's it. It has 1, 2. But you can have drawn any type of parabola. So for example, that one has two solutions. You can draw a skinny parabola. Oh, there you go. That one has no solutions. That one has two solutions. 1, 2. So it can be facing up or facing down. Either one will work. So you can have drawn any of those parabolas as long as it has two real solutions. On letter B, it needs to have one real solution. So I'm just going to make a very quick graph. If you guys can use your ID to make nice straight lines, that'll be great. It needs to have one real solution, so therefore you have to cross your x-axis once, and you guys can decide anywhere. So I'm going to make mine cross right here. And I'm going to make a parabola that barely touches it and then comes back up. So that is the lesson for today. Now remember that in this case, if I wanted to find that, will your discriminant be positive, negative, or 0 here? If it has two real solutions, your discriminant should be if it has two real solutions, it should be a positive discriminant. If it has one real solution, your discriminant will be 0. So keep that in mind. Have a good day, and I'll see you guys next time.